If it's been any driver this year in 2023 that's really impressed and made a major comeback, it's Alex Albon. Now, obviously in 2022 he was great, but in 2023 he's even greater and really showing where he stands in the Formula One table as one of our great drivers currently in 2023. So a lot of unique things to Alex Albon. I'm talking about his driving style, but how he's been able to extract so much more performance from this Williams car that obviously is better, but still not that great. But in the hands of Alex Albon, it is a pretty damn good car. Now let's talk about his points-paying performances. They came in Bahrain, Canada, Great Britain, and the Netherlands, and getting multiple P11s also in Austria and Hungary on tracks that probably shouldn't have suited the Williams. The biggest performances that really stand out here are Great Britain and the Netherlands. Now these are performances that we did not expect from the Williams car. And if you do remember, in all practices, in qualifying and the race, the Williams was actually like a top 5 car. It was actually insane seeing the performance being extracted here. Now, yes, these were changeable conditions, so obviously you can kind of resort to, oh, the Williams kind of got lucky here. Well, Logan Sargent was never at this pace. Now we know Logan is a rookie, but he's about 7 to 8 tenths off, usually off of Albon. Where does Albon gain so much pace? What is he doing differently from the grid? I'll go over in a little bit. But I really wanted to commend the Williams team for building a better car. They had their big upgrades in Canada, and since Canada, they have been very good. Now, Canada was a huge gain for them. They added the upgrades, they had a little bit of downforce, but they were perfect on their compromise. They ended up going for a more top speed type of build there for their Formula One car and in the setup, and Albon actually made it work. He was brilliant in defending, brilliant in his performance, and that is really what pushed the most out of the car. When he needed to accelerate, he did. He was great at saving his tires. I mean, the Williams strategy is practically, all right, let's put Albon early and let's pray that this guy can defend on his tires. And guess what? Every single time, this guy delivers. He genuinely is amazing. And I can't lie to you, whenever Alex Albon scores some points, I am a little happy inside. At the very minimum, if the whole race sucked, but Albon scored points, like, you know what? It was a good day in Formula One. Because it's Williams, and I actually love me some Alex Albon, I think it's great seeing them score points. So making a video about him and talking about his unique sense of driving and how that actually helps the Williams car makes this even better. Now he does kind of the same thing in the recent Grand Prix of Italy. Now obviously Italy was a great big scoring point, but we expected this. We knew they have straight line speed, very little drag, and very little downforce, so Monza was going to be a big selling point for them. And before I get into that, I wanted to thank you guys. I'm on my road to 10K, and you guys are amazing on the support you guys give me. I love reading the comments. Whether they're against me or not, I love reading them. Thank you for supporting the videos. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It would genuinely mean the world for me. It shows me I'm doing a good job, so thank you so much. Now let's get into the biggest, I guess, secret for Alex Albon. But now let's go over the biggest things as to why this car is so great in the hands of Alex Albon. Okay, I want to go over some stats with you for Alex and why this goes into his unique driving style. We're looking at staying on full throttle. Let's look at Monza first. So for Monza, Red Bull and Aston Martin were the teams that were actually able to stay on full throttle the most. Now, this practically means that the car is pretty stable and the downforce in the car is good, so you're actually able to hold onto the gas longer in comparison to other teams. Williams is down by a whole 8% here. There is a reason for that. But Monza is the outlier here because we expected them to be good here. So let's show another race. This one is from the Dutch Grand Prix, and funny enough, in this practice, they weren't actually towards the bottom, but Ferrari here was an outlier because they had a lower downforce wing, and this track really sucked for them. I don't know why Alpine was down here, but as you can see, Williams, Alpine, and Ferrari actually all finished practically within the top 5 in a lot of practice sessions and had a great race. So maybe this was the way to go, but it wasn't a big difference here. From the top, it's about a 5% difference, so it wasn't huge. Yet again, though, keep this in mind. Another Grand Prix where we can see this example of the Williams being at the bottom, but still actually performing pretty decently was the Hungary Grand Prix. Now, they didn't finish in points, but Alex Albon actually had a solid race, and this is kind of where we started realizing, hey, this car might not be so bad, but it is Alex Albon extracting this performance. Now with Hungary, you see here 48.2%. AlphaTauri was actually the best car here on throttle percentage, so comes to show you where the real strengths lied. And it was an outlier for sure, because this was the practice where we had soft, medium, and hard in qualifying. But the one where I wanted to show you where everything comes into Alex Albon's peculiar, unique driving style. It is the British Grand Prix. Now, as you can see, Red Bull was the strongest car here, but they had a 67.1% on throttle. Williams, on the other hand, had a 60.8. By the way, they were top 3 in practice here plenty of times. And in qualifying, he finished 8th and had a great Grand Prix, even overtaking the Ferraris. Now, last year, Ferrari was one of the strongest cars here. Williams was one of the worst. So what has changed for Williams? Well, it's Alex Albon adapting to this car. Now, you pick up on traits on Formula 1 cars and how they go. It's always faster to brake and then go. The harder you brake, the harder you can get into the corner, the better it is for the car. Obviously, you will be gaining more time if you're braking harder and getting into the corner earlier, getting to the apex of the corner. But what Alex is doing with a car with low downforce is, instead of braking super hard, he's lightly threading the throttle for the brake and actually going for something that's more keeping that minimum speed lower but more consistent. Instead of you get the 65 on a hard brake and then get yourself into the corner. He's keeping it consistent throughout the whole entire corner, so he's taking it in a way that's almost similar to karting. Like, you don't really brake too hard in karting in certain zones. You like to thread the brake instead of actually going for a hard braking zone. Albon is doing the same thing. We can see this in a lot of corners from Alex Albon, especially from the Silverstone Grand Prix. He was actually able to pick up on his accelerator a lot quicker this way with the car with such low downforce. Now, yes, this is a unique style. It will not work for every car, but for Williams' low downforce, Albon makes it work. Now, this made it probably very tricky for Latifi and drivers like, obviously, Logan Sargent right now, to pick up on this car, because it isn't a great car, and it's got this very interesting phenomenon to it. Now, this isn't something to boast about, but it is something that Albon is actually pulling out, coming to show that he can go into different driving styles, because he struggled big time with Max Verstappen's driving style in that RB car. But now, with the Williams leading his own team in a car that's in a very weird direction, Albon is making it work. He's threading that throttle. He's not braking hard with this car in a lot of corners, and it's actually working. Zandvoort was a huge example of this, but so was Silverstone. Where the car was braking harder for other teams, the Williams was actually threading the throttle. And that results in less minimum speed, but makes it better for actually going onto the car's traction, which is what Williams lacks. So he made this compromise to get on traction quicker and actually exploit that real top speed, really strength they have in comparison to other cars. Now, this is impressive by my boy Alex Albon. I love to see something so unique like this actually come out in a car that you would never ever really see do that well. But with 21 points on the board, I expect him to be scoring even more in this season and to be really leading this Williams team for seasons to come. Let me know your thoughts down below. What did you guys think of this video? And I would love if you guys supported it with a subscribe and a like. It would really mean the world for me. And